Wishing you all a blessed day. So in our previous class we have seen the endomembrane system. We have discussed about the lysosomes, we have discussed about the endoplasmic reticulum, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, rough endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, its functions, lysosomes, how it is called, what it is called, what are the functions, everything we have discussed in the details. So today we will be learning 4 important organelles, cell organelles today. What are they? Mitochondria, ribosomes, plastids and nucleus. Okay, so we will be learning these 4 organelles today. Mitochondria, plastids, ribosomes and nucleus. So mitochondria. First we will learn about the mitochondria. So which structure perform the function of mitochondrial bacteria? If that question is being asked, so we have to say mesosomes. Okay, which structure perform the function of mitochondrial bacteria? If somebody asks, the answer is mesosomes, because they are respiring. Okay, because in the bacteria mitochondria is absent. We know that in the bacteria mitochondria is absent. If you stain only, you will be able to see it under the microscope. So visible under the microscope after specific staining. Okay, this mitochondria will be seen under the microscope only after the specific staining. Okay, then the next one is number per cell is variable depending on the physiological activity of the cells. Okay, here the number of cells varies. Here the number of cells varies depending upon the activities of the cells. It varies. Okay, so इसका cells कैसे काम करेंगे कर रहे हैं उसी पे डिपेंड करते हैं माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया का नंबर भी. Okay, depending upon this one. Then size. What is the size? We can say that diameter 0.2 to 0.1 micrometer, average of 0.5 micrometer. Then length is 1 to 4.1 micrometer. We can say the length and the diameter is average of. Okay, then we will see how the division is taking place in the mitochondria. How the division is taking place? By fission. Okay, by division is by fission. And this is also called the powerhouse. The mitochondria is also called the powerhouse of the cell. Why? Because it produces ATP during the aerobic respiration and also many other vital functions they are doing. So that's what it is termed as the powerhouse of the cell. And we can see here it is double membranous. Okay, double membranous. The outer intermembrane space and inner membrane crystal they are having. So outer intermembrane space they will be having the perimitochondrial space. They will be having the perimitochondrial space. So it has limited boundaries. Okay, this perimitochondrial space will be having limited boundaries. इसमें क्या है? Enzymes are present. इसमें protons present है. Okay, and it is permeable. Okay, it is permeable. So जितने भी molecules हैं सब में this perimitochondrial space will be there. The inner matrix. Okay, the outer membrane continuous and inner membrane with infolding called cristae. Okay, so I will be showing you the image of mitochondria. By the time we can see the cristae towards the matrix. And what is the function of this cristae? They will be increasing the surface area. So what is the main function of the matrix? That is, they will be increasing the surface area. Then next we will learn about the matrix. Okay, next we will learn about the matrix. So in the matrix you can see here, they are dense homologous substance. Okay, they are dense homologous substance. So what is present in the matrix? Double-stranded circular DNA is present. Okay, so double-stranded circular DNA is present in the matrix. So जितने भी organelles में ये ribosomes होंगे, चाहे माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया हो, क्लोरोप्लास्ट हो, सब में कितना पाएंगे? 70s. Here कितना पाएंगे? 70s ribosomes is there in the matrix. Few RNA molecules. They will be having few RNA molecules, double circular DNA, and 70s are ribosomes. As I have told you, जितने भी ऑर्गेनेल्स में राइबोसोम होंगे, चाहे माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया हो, चाहे क्लोरोप्लास्ट हो, सब में 70s ही मिलेंगे. But if in the case of cytoplasm, you will be seeing 80s ribosomes. So please remember that point. Okay, so 80s ribosome only in the cytoplasm. Then in cell, only 3 places we can see DNA. In the cell, we can see only 3 places DNA. Where are they? We can see in the mitochondria, we can see in the nucleus, and also we can see in the chloroplast. So these are the three places we can see the cells, the DNA in the cells. Where are they? Mitochondria, then nucleus and the chloroplast. So these three places we can see DNA. Now you can see here the image of mitochondria. So this is the image of mitochondria. So here you can see the intermembrane space, matrix you can see, ATP synthase particles, as I have told you, it is the powerhouse of the cell. Then inner membrane you can see here, outer membrane, the deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA, the cristae, ribosomes, granules, the intermembrane space, matrix, synthase particles. So granules, all these are present in the mitochondria. So what is present in the inner membrane space? We know that oxysomes, F1, F0 particles are present in the inner membrane space. Where are proteins present? They are present in the intermembrane space. Okay, proteins are present in the intermembrane space. Then cytochrome. Where is cytochrome present? They will be present in the cristae. As I have told you, cristae will be increasing the surface area also. Then enzymes are present in the matrix. So we can see here the matrix. So enzymes are present in the matrix. Okay. So cristae will be increasing the surface area. So this is very important cell organelle, that is mitochondria. Mitochondria is otherwise known as the powerhouse of the cells. Now let us move to the plastids. Now let us move towards another cell organelle, that is important cell organelle, plastids. Okay, so what are plastids? जितने भी प्लांट सेल्स है होते हैं वो इग्लूनर्स होते हैं, सब में प्रेजेंट है plastids. So all the plant cells will be having these plastids. Okay, so on the presence or the absence of pigments and types of pigments, plastids are divided into three types. What are they? They are leucoplast, chromoplast and chloroplast. Okay, so on the basis of the presence or the absence of the pigments, it is being divided. These plastids are being divided into three. What are they? Leucoplast, chromoplast and chloroplast. Okay, so leucoplast, first we will see about the leucoplast. What are leucoplast? They are the colorless plastid. Okay, so pigments are absent in this one. So they are colorless. Then what is the function of this one? Storage of the nutrients. Okay, they will be storing the food. They are the storing food. Okay, so leucoplast means pigments are absent, so we can say just colorless, and function is storage of nutrients. Next we move towards the chromoplast. What is the function of the chromoplast? So presence of fat soluble carotenoid pigments like keratins, xanthophyll. Okay, so these are the colored pigments. These pigments gives the parts of plant yellow, orange or red color. So why tomato is red in color? Because of the presence of the lycopene. We all know that. So first it is green, then yellow, then red. In this way color variation occurs. Okay, that is due to the presence of the chromoplast. Okay, chromoplast, presence of fat soluble carotenoid pigments like keratins, xanthophyll, etc. So these pigments will be giving color to the related to chromoplast means related to the colors. This will be giving color. Okay, the next is chloroplast. So they are divided again into three: amyloplast, lyoplast and aleuroplast. So what is amyloplast? They will be storing the carbohydrates such as starch. They will be storing carbohydrates. And in lyoplast, they will be storing oils and fats. Okay, they will be storing oils as well as the fats. Next, aleuroplast, they will be storing the proteins. So carbohydrates, oils, fats, proteins are being stored in where? Chloroplast. Okay, so I hope that you might have understood the differences between the leucoplast, chromoplast and the chloroplast. Okay, now let us discuss about the size and shape of the plastids. So let us discuss about the size, shape and the number of plastids. Okay, so size is of length 5 to 10 micrometer, width is of 2.4 micrometer. And shape, what is the shape? It could be lens shaped, it could be oval shaped, it could be spherical shaped, it could be discoid shaped, it could be ribbon-like. Okay, so it could be any of these shapes: lens shaped, oval, spherical, discoid or ribbon-like. And the number. So in chlamydomonas we can see 1 and in mesophyll cells we can see 20 to 40 cells. Okay, in the chlamydomonas we can see 1 cell and in the mesophyll cells we can see 20 to 40. Okay, so the chloroplast, they are double membrane bound. Okay, inner membrane relatively less permeable and space limited by inner membrane, that is termed as stroma. So what is stroma? Enzymes required for the synthesis of carbohydrates, double-stranded circular DNA molecule of 70S ribosomes. And these chloroplasts, they are flattened membranous sacs. They are called as thylakoids, and they are arranged in stacks like. So when I will be showing you the diagram, I will show you the image how it is being arranged like coins. So thylakoids, it is arranged in the stacks like. Okay, in the library and all we can see the books how it is arranged. In this way, this thylakoid is being arranged. And next one, it is called as piles of coins called grana. Okay, similarly called as granum. Okay, so grana. Connection between the grana, stroma, lamellae. Okay, the connection between this is termed as stroma or lamellae. The next is thylakoid has lumen and it also contains pigments like chlorophyll. This thylakoid will be containing lumen. It has lumen space and also it will be containing the pigments. Chlorophyll pigment it does contain. Okay, next we will see the image how it is being arranged. We can see here the outer membrane. We can see here the inner membrane. As I have told you, granum. That is a singular form. So how the thylakoids are being arranged, you can see here. So it is arranged in the form of stacks. So thylakoids will be having lumen, and also as I have told you just now, thylakoids they are having lumen and they are having chlorophyll pigment. And this is the stroma, connection between the thylakoid and the lamellae. Okay, so this is the structure of chloroplast. So this is the stroma. This image is also very, very important. So let's move to the next organelle. So next we will discuss about the ribosomes. We know that it is the protein factories. Okay, synthesizing the proteins. The main function of ribosome is synthesizing the proteins. So here ribosomes. Okay, ribosomes, the granular structure. This was first observed in the electron microscope by George Palade. Okay, it was observed by George Palade. Okay, so what is this ribosome? They are composed of ribonucleic acid. And ribonucleic acid proteins are surrounded by this membrane. Okay, so the eukaryotic eukaryotic ribosomes are of 80S and the prokaryotic ribosomes are of 70S. So each ribosomes will be having the larger as well as the smaller subunits. We know that this you can see here the larger smaller subunit as well as the larger subunit. So each ribosome is composed of larger subunit and the smaller subunit. So S here means 70S, 80S. What does it mean? It is a Swedberg unit. So it stands for sedimentation coefficient. Okay, S stands here for sedimentation coefficient. What is it? It is a measure of density or size of the protein. Okay, that's what we call it as 70S and 80S. So 70S, when we call it as 80S, that is of 60 plus 40, and 70S means it is of 50 plus 30. What is it? In 70 is in prokaryotes and 80S is in the eukaryotes. Okay, so both 70S and 80S ribosomes are composed of two subunits. So ribosomes, that's all about the ribosomes. Next, let us learn about the nucleus. So first, it is being described by Robert Brown. So nucleus is being described by Robert Brown. Term chromatin was given by Fleming. So the chromatin, the term was given by Fleming, but the nucleus, the term was given by Robert Brown. So staining of chromatin by basic dyes. One of the basic dyes that which you can remember is that acetocarmine, you can remember. So it consists of two parallel membranes. Okay, it consists of two parallel membranes and space between both the membranes. They are termed as perinuclear space. So space between the both membranes, that is termed as perinuclear. That may be most probably 10 to 50 nanometer. Okay, 10 to 50 nanometer. Then the nuclear envelope is interrupted by minute pores formed by fusion of both the membranes. Okay, it is formed by the fusion of membranes. And through pores, the movement of RNA and proteins takes place between the cytoplasm at the same time of the nucleus. then outer membrane remain continuous with the endoplasmic reticulum. The outer membrane will be remaining into the outer plasm, that is contains endoplasmic reticulum. So now let us discuss about the nuclear envelope. So as I have told you just now, the nuclear envelope, the outer membrane continues with the endoplasmic reticulum. So it is having interphase nucleus, that is nucleus of the cell when it is not divided. Interphase nucleus is that nucleus of the cell when it is not divided. Okay, so the first number, we will discuss about the number. Normally one nucleus per cell, we will be having one nucleus. In some organisms more than one nucleus are present. They are Woltschia as well as the Paramecium, more than one nucleus is present. And also very important point to remember is that liquid endosperm of coconut also it contains more than one nucleus. Otherwise normally one nucleus per cell में एक ही nucleus पाएंगे, नहीं तो किसी organism में है more than one nucleus, that is of Woltschia as well as the Paramecium, and also in the liquid endosperm of the coconut. And next is regarding the erythrocytes of many mammals and the CO2 cells of vascular plants, they lack nucleus, they don't have nucleus. Okay, so erythrocytes of many mammals, they lack nucleus, and CO2 cells of vascular plants, they also lack nucleus. Then the nuclear matrix and the nuclear plasm, they consist of nucleoli as well as the chromatid. Okay, singular is nucleolus and chromatid. So here the nucleolus, you can see here, they are spherical without membrane. They are the site of the ribosomal RNA. So synthesis of RNA is being taking place here. Okay, in the nucleoli. The main function of the nucleolus is the formation of the proteins. The site for the ribosomal RNA synthesis, and they are larger and more in number in cells, those actively carrying out the protein synthesis. We know that the function of RNA, it is known as formation of protein synthesis. Okay, they are synthesizing the protein. So the nucleoli, the singular form is nucleolus, spherical structure without the membrane, site for the ribosomal RNA, larger and more in number in cells, and activities carried by for the protein synthesis. Here chromatid. What is the function of chromatid? They are highly extended and elaborate nuclear protein fibers. Then they will become condensed form. Okay, we can see during the cell division we can see it in the condensed form. Okay, chromatid we can see in the condensed form. Now let us see the structure of. Okay, the structure of the nucleus. So here you can see the condensed chromatid, nucleolus, chromatid, the nuclear membrane, the nuclear pore. So this is the structure of the nucleus. Very important image, diagram. So outer part of endoplasmic reticulum, as I have told you, the nucleolus, nuclear plasm, nuclear pore, and the nuclear envelope. So now let us discuss about the chromosomes. How the chromosomes are being formed due to the condensation. Okay, during the cell division, condensation takes place. That's the chromosome. You can see here, forms due to the condensation of chromatin fibers during the cell division. So during the cell divisions, the chromosomes is being formed. So here you can see the chromosomes in the human cells has approximately 2 meter long DNA thread distributes among the 46 chromosomes. So it's all about 2 meter. Okay, then its composition of DNA consists of DNA, histone proteins, non-histone proteins, RNA, and the structure. Regarding the structure as well as the types, let us discuss. So types we can see on the basis of the position of the centromere. Based on that, we can divide it into metacentric, submetacentric, ectocentric, and the telocentric. So what is metacentric? If the centromere is found in the middle, it is termed as metacentric. Okay, then submetacentric, if centromere is in the slight away from the middle, then we can call it as submetacentric. Ectocentric means centromere will be close to the end of the chromosomes, then we can call it as ectocentric. Then telocentric means centromere will be at the terminal position, that is termed as telocentric. So once again, it is on the basis of the position of the chromosome centromere, they are being divided into metacentric, submetacentric, ectocentric, and the telocentric. Metacentric means centromere will be the middle part. Okay, the submetacentric means centromere slight away from the middle. Ectocentric means centromere close to the end of the chromosomes. Telocentric means centromere at the terminal position. Then structure. So based on the primary constriction or the centromere. So that is the structure of the chromosome. Then each centromere will be having disc-shaped structure, that is termed as kinetochores. Okay, that is very, very important. Each centromere which is having disc-shaped structure and they are called as kinetochores. Then few chromosomes will be having secondary constriction. Okay, the constant location will be having secondary constriction. Then the fragment or part of chromosomes after secondary constriction, that is termed as saplings. So now let us see the structure. So we can see here centromere, as I have told you, telocentric. This is the satellite formation. So you can see here the image of metacentric, and that centromere is found in the middle. So when slight away from the middle part, that is submetacentric. Acrocentric means at the terminal end. Here no telocentric, you can see here. This is the position of the centromeres. So based on the position of the centromeres, it is being divided into metacentric, submetacentric, acrocentric and telocentric. So here another image based on the position of the chromosomes, we can see telocentric, the centromere, where the chromosome's arm is being present. In the metacentric position, how the chromosome arm is there, centromere, what is the position. So all this is being described here in this image. So let's move forward. So if we take one chromosome, एक क्रोमोसोम लेंगे तो उसमें क्या होते हैं? 2 DNA होते हैं, 2 chromatids will be present, 1 centromere will be present, 2 kinetochores will be present, and 4 telomeres will be present. Okay, if we take in one chromosome, if we take the case of one chromosome, एक chromosome लेंगे तो उसमें क्या होते हैं? 2 DNA है, 2 chromatids है, because cylindrical in structure. Then 1 centromere will be present, then 2 kinetochores will be present, and 4 telomeres are present. So that's all for today. So we have learnt today the mitochondria, we have learnt plastids, we have learnt nucleus, and we have learnt chromosomes. So all the functions of this we have learnt. So go through this, go through the NCERT text, learn, revise it well. Thank you for being attentive, stay positive, stay blessed. Thank you.